Hey guys, Linden here from the Leopard Trail. So I'm coming to hike this in winter in about 2 weeks time. And some of my hiking buddies have asked me for a video on suggestions for hiking the Leopard Trail in winter. So I thought I'd do one for all of us. Here's 7 or 6 things that you can really think about as you prepare to come and hike the Leopard Trail in winter. So the good news is that most of the days in winter are beautiful. It's those crisp Karoo days where temperatures are 18, 20 degrees, perfect for winter hiking. But once every now and then you will get cold fronts coming through that then make the temperature drops radically. It gets cold, the winds are chilly. So number one tip is prepare for both sets of events in terms of weather. Layer up, so go thin layers that you can take on and off as you need. Be prepared though for the early mornings, and if you're going to be walking late into the afternoon when the sun gets below the mountains, it will get cold. Which brings me to tip number 2 is think a little bit more carefully about what shoes you're going to wear than you might have in summer. So in summer, I really prefer hiking just in normal tackies or my gym shoes. They're light. They let a lot of the heat out, so it's not too bad. As long as they have a fairly solid sole underneath, because oftentimes you might be walking on gravel or on rocky bits. So if your sole underneath is very soft, it can actually, your feet start feeling all those pieces. So instead, wear something that's got a little bit of a harder sole. And in winter, you might want to think about something like a boot. Mainly for me, I wear boots in winter just because it's that extra bit warmer. My running shoes or my gym shoes are just a little bit too cold. They've got that thin mesh material in a lot of places. And when you leave in the morning and sometimes it's only 6, 7 degrees out, those shoes are just a bit too cold for me. So give that some thought. The third suggestion I have is bring a flask. Now, there are, as for many of you that know, we have beautiful catering huts. But in winter, if you're waking up at 6, 7 in the morning and you want that first cup of coffee, that first cup of tea, getting up out of bed and walking the 50 meters, the 60 meters to the catering hut just feels sometimes a bit much for me in winter. In particular, when I'd have to get dressed, I'd have to put on shoes, I'd have to get my jacket on just to go and make a cup of tea. So one of my luxuries that I love, and because this is slack packing, you can do it without having to worry, is bring yourself a hot water flask, fill it up at night, put it next to your bed so that when you wake up in the morning, you can immediately have a beautiful cup of coffee or tea without having to get up and get changed and go through to the catering unit. That brings me to suggestion number 4, which is a hot water bottle. The nights here are cold. The huts, while they're warmish, they are certainly not warm in the middle of winter when there's sometimes frost on the ground. So bring a hot water bottle. Once again, this is the luxury of slack packing. You can bring all these things, put them in your bag, and just have a really nice toasty bunch of feet in the morning, and so that you don't get cold and can sleep through the night. My tip number 5 is take your time. One of the beautiful things about walking in winter is you don't have to worry about the heat. So if you've seen the video of our recommendations for hiking in summer, you'll notice that we suggest leave at 5 in the morning so that you're done by 10 or 11 and you're escaping the heat. Now in winter, it's a different case. You can start walking at 9 o'clock in the morning, get to your destination at 3 or 4, to the next campsite, 3 or 4 or 5, and you've walked through the most beautiful warm part of the day. So in winter, take your time. You don't have to rush. You don't have to get up early. It's not the same pressure that you're under in summer to avoid the heat. And my last suggestion for walking this trail in winter is bring slip-on shoes that are warm. So if it's the middle of the night or you're in your catering unit, let's say it's the middle of the night, you wake up and you need to go for a pee, the worst thing you want to have to do is get your tackies on. So either a nice pair of slippers or some slip-on shoes that are quick and easy but warm enough to go outside make a world of difference. The same when you wake up in the morning, you don't have to worry too much. You can just slip on your slip-on shoes. I have a nice, very warm pair of sheepskin slippers, and I bring those along with me. They've got a rubber sole at the bottom, so it's perfect. But it just means that I'm not having to put on my shoes in the middle of the night or early in the morning when I don't want to. That being said, for my buddies, I hope this helps for our hike in 2 weeks' time, but for the rest of you as well, happy hiking in winter. It is one of my favorite times to walk the trail.